introductions. I'm RJ, QA and support.
That's right. And for those who haven't tuned in before, I'm Paul, one of the co-founders and CEO here at Edge, as well as one of the kind of somewhat former developers. I've done a bit of coding for this app, so I can answer some of the technical questions. So for those of you that are chimed in, feel free to go ahead and post up any questions about the industry, Edge, what we're doing, and to some degree, heck, even about what the hell's going on with the markets and industry. But we'll try to chime in and answer as best we can. But let's kick it off with the new release.
Yeah, so let's jump in. We had our new release just last week, 1.11.6, and that's where we introduced Cred. It's a way to earn interest on your crypto assets.
Yep. So we just integrated this service. We've been talking to the company for a while. This is a feature that's actually been asked a lot from a lot of our users. Hey, when can I actually earn interest on my crypto? Or when can I go ahead and take out crypto-backed loans? I had first heard about this type of functionality or service. I don't know, what was the first company? There's a few of these that offer this now, right?
Yeah, there's a few of them. The first one I heard it from was BTC Jam. Maybe you guys heard of it way back in the day.
Like 2013, 2014, maybe a little bit into 2015?
Right, all the way up to 2015, maybe till the end of it. But yeah, you could borrow Bitcoins at a certain interest rate. And usually if Bitcoin was low in price, or at least for me, that's when I want to borrow Bitcoins at a lower price in the hopes that as the Bitcoin price goes up, I'm making less and less payments and I can pocket the excess Bitcoin as profit.
Got it. So this is a service that you had used. Do you remember what year it was? Was it around 2013, 2014?
For me, it was definitely 2015. That's when we had the low, like $150 a Bitcoin, and then it was
way back.
Maybe average 300, 400.
And so that was something that was around back then, but there was a new crop of services that just popped up more recently around the 2017 timeframe.
There were like Salt Lending.
Salt Lending, that was definitely the first one that had crossed my eyes as being a service that primarily the main service they'd offered was crypto-backed loans. They talked a lot about loans being very predatory, like in the current financial system, but there was a suite of loans that aren't so predatory, but actually help people leverage the assets that they already have as collateral. In a way, you do this already with your home, in that you can take out a loan or an additional equity line of credit and back it by the home itself. So the home being the collateral. But instead of the home being collateral, it would be crypto as a collateral.
Right.
This is interesting because if you think about taking out a loan and collateralizing it, not many assets can be easily subdivided.
Yeah, it's more difficult. You can't really subdivide a house, for example.
You can't suddenly say, like, oh, I need to liquidate some of my assets that are collateralizing my loan because, say, for example, the house price dropped. I couldn't just suddenly liquidate a bedroom, or liquidate a living room. You pretty much have to liquidate the whole thing. Yeah. So collateralizing a loan with your house means it's kind of all or nothing.
And the same thing with the car. You can't collateralize like a part of the car.
Yep, not one door, not a steering wheel, not an engine. You pretty much collateralize using the entire car. So crypto is fairly unique in the sense that you could collateralize a loan, but it being so subdividable very easily, because it is almost like another money. You're collateralizing, you're taking out a loan of money with another money. By doing that, if the loan collateral wasn't sufficient to cover the loan itself, then it could slowly be sliced off in small chunks.
Right on.
All right. And so this is one of the services that that Cred offers, although the primary service that if you go into Edge today and use is interest-bearing accounts. And you'd actually gone through the process of applying. Maybe talk about the process of doing that inside of Edge.
Right, so yeah, when you go inside Edge, you'll see from the side menu, earn interest, and if you tap into that, you'll, just like Simplex or Wire, you'll need to sign up. And for me, it was a pretty smooth process. I was able to sign up maybe less than 5 minutes, maybe about 7 minutes around there. And the verification that they do ask is like, your driver's license, front and back, and then a selfie of yourself. And from there, you get an email verification, and that went all smoothly. And then from there, I was already logged in inside Edge into my Cred account. And from there, if you tapped on an asset you want to add, you can add assets where you can deposit funds so you can start earning interest on that. And then from there, looks like I haven't received any payments yet, but it looks like it's monthly payments of the coin of your choice, based on what they support, like Bitcoin or Litecoin or a token that's locked to the US dollar. And those are done monthly, so based on the balance that you have and what the price is. So it'll fluctuate, but whatever that price is for that month, I want to say it was like the 15th of the month when they calculate what the price is or the total balance of your assets on the account, and then they give you that monthly payout.
Very cool. And so the different, they actually support a good number of assets. A lot of services are fairly limited, but they've got Litecoin, and they actually partner with the Litecoin Foundation to announce support of Litecoin within Cred and really push it within a lot of the Litecoin community. But from what I see on their website, they've got support for Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, XRP, and dollars, which I presume is a dollar-based stable coins. You'll see quite the full list. And I think there's even more.
Yeah, even BAT is on there.
BAT tokens are supported as well.
Right.
So to clarify, once again, you can take your tokens or coins and you'll deposit them with Cred, and Cred will give you interest on the amount that you've deposited. Now, granted, one thing to be aware of is you are using a custodial service. This is kind of the first integration of what we consider to be a custodial service inside of Edge.
Right.
Now, we're excited about a lot of the decentralized alternatives to some of these services, such as Cred, but right now, a lot of those are still a bit risky. You're using smart contracts that may have bugs in it, haven't been thoroughly well tested. Maker is in some ways a mimic to this type of a service, but for you to be able to do it with a bunch of different assets, you right now do need a custodial service.
Right.
So we're excited to be able to launch this. They also provide, generally speaking, better returns than what you would get with some of the more decentralized contracts and better liquidity.
Yeah, even with like the legacy financial system, it's far beyond higher interest rates compared to like a CD or something.
Yeah, they're giving you better interest rates than what you get with the legacy financial system, and for now, better interest rates than what you'd get with the dApps and decentralized protocols. So what we're seeing is somewhere between 3 to 5% interest on your assets.
Right.
And so in a way, better than keeping it idle, but caveat definitely, we wouldn't recommend putting everything that you would normally hold in your own keys onto a service like Cred, but some amount of it that you could have working for you, as opposed to being fully idle. It's actually working for you and earning you some dollars back.
Yeah, and it's also nice that it looks like it's monthly payments compared to like a CD. In the legacy system, you have to wait till that full 6 months or a year, depending on how long that CD is, until it comes in. But this one, at least monthly payments. And if you're wondering, there's no minimum amount and there's no maximum amounts. But if you do plan on investing high amounts, like over 150,000, they will ask to talk to you, so maybe you can get a better rate. So that might be worth something if you're interested. If you're a whale and you want to invest more than 150,000, you could probably get higher rates.
Got it. Yeah, most services do exactly that. Like I know that when I took out some savings accounts and money market accounts in the traditional financial system, if I basically did those accounts with a higher balance, then my interest rate went up. And that's just part of the normal kind of mode of operation of financial services. So they might have some rates quoted on here, but as RJ said, if you do have larger accounts that you'd like to have deposited, then you can give them a call and they can offer something a little bit better. One thing about the integration to be aware of, like we're one of the only integrations with Cred where the usage of the service is actually tightly knit with the app.
Right.
Now, when you go into the app, you'll actually see what looks like Cred's website. You'll notice that in the process of signing up for Cred, there's a little sign up button. You'll still have to verify your email and your phone number, but you'll never have to create a new set of credentials to log in.
Right.
Right. This is a key thing that we insist on when we integrate new partners, is that they leverage the Edge security model that we've built.
Like the Edge login.
Exactly. We're securing private keys in a similar way that we're securing credentials for a user to get access into their accounts with all of these exchange or financial service providers. So you'll still need to verify an email, you'll need to verify a phone number, but once you've created your account with Cred, the next time that you enter the plugin, there'll be a sign-in button.
Yeah.
You click the sign-in button and you're automatically logged in.
Automatically signs in like Edge login.
Exactly. It's not like an Edge login. Your credentials are encrypted and stored inside of Edge alongside with your private keys, and then they're submitted to Cred every time you need to log in. So it makes that experience a lot more seamless. And then as well, when you need to deposit money into Cred or withdraw money from Cred, you never have to scan a QR code or
it's already all tied in together.
Exactly, or copy and paste a public address. It's automatically integrated with Edge. You just have to say, I think it's deposit with Edge. You click a button and it launches a screen in Edge that allows you to specify the amount and then send money over to your account.
Slide to confirm.
Slide to confirm. It'll look just like you're sending money out to a QR code, but you never had to copy, paste, scan. And then the same thing with when you withdraw. It automatically grabs an address from your wallet. It even lets you pick a wallet that supports just the currencies that Cred supports. Right? You want to withdraw, you want to deposit some money, and you want to deposit ETH. Well, you're going to choose one of the ETH wallets.
Yeah, so you can still choose from which Ethereum wallet specifically to send to.
Exactly, exactly. So you're definitely very interested in this service. What would you say are the conditions by which someone would want to be using an interest-bearing account? And I'll be happy to talk because I know it interests me to use the opposite side of this, which is crypto-backed loans.
Yeah, so if Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are high in value, that might be a good time to deposit some funds because the interest off that would be a decent amount coming in every month, right? And then on the other hand, if it's at a low price, if we do get that other side of the service in Cred, borrowing money when Bitcoin is at a low price, like imagine borrowing Bitcoin at $3,600, and then you just pay that over time, and then Bitcoin bumps up. You can pay that off, that loan off real quickly, and then you have that excess. You keep the rest of that Bitcoin.
Exactly. So when Bitcoin's at a high price, you deposit that Bitcoin, and it's earning interest, depending, actually, to my understanding, you actually have both options. Earning interest at the dollar value at the time that you deposited the Bitcoin. So if it shoots up and you deposit, well, guess what? You now are earning interest on that high amount.
On a dollar amount.
On that high dollar amount. And then on the flip side, if crypto is at a current low, which we kind of went through this crazy crash the past couple of days.
Yeah, flash crash yesterday.
We're now at probably half, if not less than the value that Bitcoin was at a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So if you feel like that crypto is at a relative bottom and it may not go much further down, then taking out a loan backed by the crypto becomes an interesting proposition.
Right.
And talk a little bit about why that is because say you want to actually use some of your crypto, you want to spend some of your crypto, you want to buy something with it. Yeah. Well, in order for you to do that, you'd have to sell it.
Right.
And that creates two notable events. Number one, you're selling your crypto, so therefore, whatever that amount is that you're selling, you won't get to experience any further price gain. So crypto tanks, you sell it, and it goes back up in value. You wouldn't get any of that.
Yeah, you wouldn't capture
gains.
that.
You wouldn't capture any of those gains. But second, when you sell, there's also a potential tax implication. I'm not a tax advisor. Don't go and messaging us for tax advice and whatnot.
That's a very good point. So compared to borrowing money, if you borrow money that you need and you have that, you're not taxed on it, and then you're still making payments back to it.
Exactly.
That's another way around. Instead of just selling the asset, then you got to pay taxes on it. Just borrow and then make the monthly payments instead.
Exactly. So borrowing is a very different thing than selling. And so in the same sense as your house, you're not selling your house when you want to take out a line of credit on a little bit of its gain and of it being an asset. Instead, you are borrowing some money and then slowly paying it off. And you're just collateralizing the loan with some Bitcoin. So unless regulation changes in the future, at least the way it stands today, if you were to say let's take an example of one Bitcoin right now, which is worth about $5,000.
Right.
And you were to then use it as collateral. Typically, the collateral requires a loan-to-value ratio of anything from 50% to 100%.
Right.
So at worst case, 100% loan-to-value ratio, which means that you would only get $2,500 worth for that $5,000. But you could then use that $2,500, and if Bitcoin were to then go up in value, then the increase in value could potentially start paying off for that $2,500 that you borrowed.
Right.
If it went down, unfortunately, then you might get liquidated in order to
you have to put more into it to retain it.
Exactly, to put more collateral to prevent you from getting liquidated. If you do get liquidated, that's considered a sell. And that amount that gets liquidated, it's not a house. You don't have to sell all of it.
Yeah.
You could sell a small amount or slices of that one Bitcoin might get sold. There might be 0.9 Bitcoin remaining, and 0.1 is sold. 0.2 is sold, 0.8 remaining. That amount that's sold, that would impart some tax implication, but the rest of it wouldn't.
Right.
But now, yes, as we had mentioned, you'll be able to capture any further gains that Bitcoin would have.
And that's a good part.
Which is a good thing. But you should be able to spend some of it. Not you're not going to get
not
full
all
one-to-one.
of it, but some of it.
Yeah, you're not going to put 5,000. You don't collateralize a loan with $5,000 of Bitcoin and get $5,000 back, and that's primarily because there is this thing in the world called a loan-to-value ratio, and that's protecting the financial institution in case the value of the asset goes down.
Right. Just one thing to add. So BTC Jam was a little bit different. It didn't have the collateral part, so that was based on like your points with the system. So there's more like a social score. More that the more that I remember about it.
Right. Yeah. So they were a system that didn't offer collateralized loans, but basically unsecured loans.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of what you would get right now with a traditional bank. Mm-hmm. Right. You're not going to ask for any collateral other than your own credit score. And really the collateral is your reputation, because if you go
Yep,
bad on
that's
the
right,
loan,
reputation.
they go after you, they
Yeah.
mark you with a bad credit history, it'll be harder for you to, rent, it'll be hard for you to rent a place and, potentially to get loans in the future. So
Exactly.
really that's the collateral, is your own reputation, as opposed to actual hard assets.
Right on. While we're talking about this, so when do you think we'll have that other service inside Edge where you can borrow money, not just earn interest, but to borrow money inside Cred? Now that we have them integrated.
So it's available, although from what the Cred team has told us,
Yeah.
you actually need to be approved for that separately from just the regular KYC process. So if
Okay.
this is something that is of interest to any users out there, go ahead and create your Cred account inside of Edge.
Yeah.
And then go ahead and send them a support email, support@earncred.com, I believe, or mycred.io.
I think it was mycred.io.
Right, so go ahead and send them an email at support@mycred.io and say that you are interested in taking out a loan, and they can go through the application process with you. So it's a little bit further, unfortunately, than the regular KYC to get an interest-bearing account. We're hoping that gets more streamlined,
Gotcha.
but in the meantime, that is the process you'll have to go through if that's of interest. It's something that definitely interests me since the price is low right now. Good time to take out a loan. But
Right on.
let us know if you have any feedback about this. And I don't think we had anything else in that release
Yeah.
that we want to talk about. But we got some cool, exciting stuff in upcoming releases. Different ways to buy and sell crypto.
Yeah.
Actually, this might be a good opportunity because the price is so low. We want to apologize for anyone that is trying to buy crypto. Some of our partners have mentioned that they've had an influx of volume and it's hitting some of their
Right.
volume
To be a
limits.
little bit overloaded.
We're getting a little bit overloaded. And so if you are trying to buy with any of our services and you hit some of those limits, we just apologize. This happens whenever the markets are volatile. Hopefully that gets smoothed out over the next few hours, if not days, or days, if not hours, and we're more fully functional. We do know that transactions are coming in, people are able to buy and sell, just maybe a few are kind of fall through the cracks and
Right
get
on.
dropped. But given that, what are the options for people to go and buy the dip or sell the dump?
Yeah. Or hodl.
Or just hodl.
Just
You
hodl's
don't
another
use Edge to
option.
hodl. But some of the most popular services in our app, number one, probably one of the most because it's available globally,
Yeah,
is
Simplex.
Simplex, one of our great partners. They let
Comes
you
in
buy and sell.
fast, within
Comes in
30
really
minutes.
fast. Yeah, we've seen transactions 10 to 30 minutes. Sometimes it might take a few hours, whatnot, but most of them come within 30 minutes to let you buy actually quite a few assets.
Yeah.
Bitcoin,
Bitcoin Cash, I think, XRP.
XRP,
Yeah.
and Litecoin, and Ether.
Ethereum as well.
And Ethereum
yeah.
as well. So those 5 currencies are supported inside of Edge. We'll actually be adding support for more currencies in the near future. They support more than that. We just have to integrate those currencies in there. Fees are on the medium high side, not as much as you'd pay with an ATM, but you are able to use credit or debit card almost anywhere in the world. So that's Simplex.
Yeah.
If you're in Europe and you're not, even if you're locked down in Europe, you could still use Simplex to also sell.
Yeah, and you can also use Biddy in Europe, and theirs is 1%, and that's with your bank.
Yeah, Biddy's a great service, covers all of Europe, including Switzerland, because they're actually from Switzerland, and lets you buy and sell Bitcoin at just 1% and without any KYC. So you don't have to provide any personal information. You simply send a bank transfer over to Biddy. You create an order, you say how much you want to buy or sell, and if you're selling, you're going to send crypto over to Biddy, and they deposit right into your bank. You just specify what your bank information is, what your bank number, what bank you're banking with,
Yes.
and they deposit money, and that usually happens within a day, if not a few hours. And on the flip side, you want to buy some crypto, create an order right inside of Edge. You specify which bank you're going to be sending the money from, your bank number, and then they give you effectively instructions on where to send the money. You go and send the money, and the Bitcoin gets deposited. Also, we're seeing that happen within a few hours.
Right, it's
as
fairly
late as a
quickly.
day. Yep, fairly quickly. That uses the SEPA bank transfer method.
Right.
Super popular. And then for people with Apple phones, like we have,
Yeah, there's like MoonPay.
MoonPay,
Yeah,
another partner,
Apple
covers
Pay.
a good chunk of the world. Now, in the U.S., in case you missed one of our earlier podcasts where we announced that MoonPay is now available inside of the U.S., so you can just simply double tap on your power button if you've got an iPhone 10 to buy Bitcoin and a few other currencies as
Not
well.
aware of that shortcut, but that sounds cool.
Well, when you do Apple Pay, it actually to kind of verify,
Yeah.
do a Face ID, that kind of thing on
Okay.
an iPhone 10, and you kind of double tap on the power button to verify that. So it's fairly straightforward and simple. MoonPay is available in all of Europe, Canada, South Korea, South Africa,
Wow, South Africa
I
too.
believe Brazil as well. I could be wrong about that one. Most states in the U.S., but not all states yet, and I believe Hong Kong as well. So
Right.
great service that people can use to, for now, just buy. So buy the dip. Can't sell the dump.
Buy the dip.
Buy the dip, but not quite sell the dump.
And don't
And
forget Wire.
And then Wire in the U.S., which lets you buy the dip and sell the dump. So Wire, if you're in the U.S. and you have a kind of conventional bank, U.S. bank account in also most states in the country, not all states, unfortunately for New York citizens,
Right.
they don't support New York yet, but you can link up your bank account inside of Edge and be able to buy up to, what are their limits?
Yeah, so you can buy up to $2,500 a week, 1% fees. But on
1%
the
fee.
sell side, you can sell unlimited amounts.
Unlimited amount. Here's your chance to really sell the dump. Not that we propose that. We'd love Bitcoin to go up in price, but you can. And because of those, that lack of limits, yeah, you could sell a lot of Bitcoin or USDC or ETH.
Ethereum.
Are the three that they support. So you can sell ETH, Bitcoin, USDC, unlimited amounts inside of Edge through a partner wire.
Right on.
You will have to KYC for that. That's not like Biddy.
And
where
let's
there's no
remember, if
KYC.
you have other coins or tokens that you can't sell on Wire, then you can use our swap functionality, convert your coins to Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then sell
Exactly.
that, and then you get your cash.
Yep, and we got rich swap functionality, a bunch of different coins through 7 different exchange partners
Yeah.
inside of the app, and the app will do automatic price hunting for you.
Get
Yep.
you the best rates.
Yep. So amidst this wild ride, now what's
Yeah.
been the cause? Like, what do we think has been the cause of this wild ride?
Yeah, so we think
crypto.
it's COVID-19 or
COVID-19 or
coronavirus.
coronavirus has definitely been kind of the black swan event that's hitting all markets and not just Bitcoin.
Yeah, from oil to the stock market, the Dow, the S&P 500.
There's a place where oil is
everything.
is almost $1
Yeah.
per gallon, which is crazy. I remember seeing that when I was in high school. I don't know if I've seen it since then.
I think I remember seeing it when I started driving.
Yeah, lucky you, exactly.
So it's been a while.
But yeah, it's definitely been a while. And a lot of people talk about how Bitcoin is kind of the counter asset, where it is potentially the safe haven when people exit a lot of higher risk assets such as stocks, and they go into cash, gold, and potentially Bitcoin.
Right.
I think that's something that we have to be careful about thinking and saying, because it is such a volatile asset that a lot of people just use it as pure speculation, not as a way to kind of hold long-term value in a volatile market, because it is so volatile in and of itself. Now, the one time that I think that Bitcoin will do really well in a volatile type of a recession, it seems like we are entering
Yeah.
the next
I
great
think so
recession
too.
since 2008. The one time that I think Bitcoin do well is if the recession is inherently currency based,
Yeah.
right? Like overprinting of currency that devalues everybody.
What they're doing, like
Which
many of the other
they
countries are
doing.
printing
In
money.
a way, the coronavirus is creating an economic impact because so many things are effectively just not happening.
Yeah, because of the supply chain, and they gotta cover that,
Yeah,
print out more money.
potentially supply chains are going to break down. We're seeing definitely first and foremost large scale events.
Yeah,
So we were supposed to go and actually host an after party over at Bitcoin 2020.
yeah, that ended up getting canceled.
And that entirely got canceled. Imagine all of the hotels, the flights,
Service
all the
industries.
service people that are losing out on any business opportunities from those events. And that's one event. But that event was slated to have about 2,000 people in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I just heard word this morning that now Consensus in New York has canceled their physical event, and that also was about a 2 to 3 to up to 8,000 in the peak of 2018, I believe.
Wow.
An 8,000 person event that spanned a large portion of New York City that is no longer happening. They're going to do a virtual version of Consensus. So I'm kind of bummed out because I was confirmed a speaker for 2 different speaking slots over at Consensus, and now it's gone virtual, which definitely doesn't have as much of an impact. Not as many people are going to attend. The biggest value of that conference was actually face-to-face
Yeah,
interacting
making
with
the
people.
connections,
Making
networking.
connections outside of the speaking halls. And so that's a ton of business that's going to be lost by a lot of small businesses.
Yeah.
So the economic impact is huge. And obviously, the main way that governments have helped alleviate economic concerns is to stimulate the economy, print out money.
Right.
And we're hearing that is widely happening today.
Yeah, like a 1.5 trillion,
1.5
like
trillion is
installments
what I've
with the
heard.
United States, and then
Yep.
you have other countries like 10 billion, 15 billion
Yep.
here and there.
ECB
So
in
that'll add
Europe
some-
is talking about doing this
There you
as
go.
well. But that won't have an immediate effect on investor sentiment on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, that's a trickle down where the end user won't feel it until much later,
Yeah.
where you suddenly go, oh my God, my dollar is just hardly worth anything now.
Right.
And so medium term, not even long term, medium term, I think this is going to hugely spike crypto, interest in crypto at least. If it's not the price, at least interest in it, because people will start to feel the effect of the inflation or devaluation of
Because
currency.
of all that printing.
But in the short term, everyone's just freaking out. Like, oh my gosh. Like a lot of people are freaking, not even just freaking out. They might inherently themselves be impacted.
Yeah.
So they may have some volatile assets that they put away. They said, okay, these are my investments. You know, their E-Trade account, their Scottrade account, and then their Bitcoin. But then suddenly they can't work.
Yeah.
Right? They're not able to go to their job. Maybe they have a physical labor job and they're being on lockdown, having to stay at home.
Right.
Or they work at a restaurant. They're a
Service
server at a
industry.
restaurant, service industry. A lot of those people, even you think of those as kind of more low-income jobs, they have some investments.
Yeah.
And so people are having to pull out their investments in order to just live and sustain.
Yeah.
And
They
one
have
of
to
those
sell.
investments,
Yeah,
they have to sell.
they
They have
gotta
to sell
live.
investment. They just have
They
to
can't
live.
work.
And in doing that, Bitcoin is an investment. That's one of the things that's going to get liquidated. So my take on the industry is, you know, when people get concerned, they're losing jobs, they're losing income, then they're going to liquidate the investments.
Right.
And that's going to have that definite short-term impact. But when all is said and done and we settle out, like we
Yeah.
settle,
Once the
and
dust
things
is settled.
when the dust is settled, and you know, I feel fairly confident the dust will settle. This isn't going to be a thing that's Armageddon and the entire world is over. I'm not discrediting the importance of trying to save lives, but a lot of people, unfortunately, will definitely have negative health consequences. A lot of people will die, but at a certain point, the entire world will react to it, and at the same time, we'll have saturated a good amount of the population,
And then we'll
and
continue.
we'll start to plateau. Like
Right.
COVID-19 cases will start to plateau, deaths will start to plateau. But then the longer term impact will be like, how do we recover the economy?
Yeah.
And the only thing the government can do is just print. And once they start doing that,
That's
that's
when,
when
real commodities and assets
the
will start
true
going
hard
up.
assets, and Bitcoin really starts to come into play, because people will now have their ability to work again.
Yeah.
Events will start happening again. But what do you do? Because that money's out there.
Yeah, it's already flooded. It's just like
already
a,
flooded
yeah,
out
a
into the
huge
market.
airdrop.
Yeah, a giant airdrop goes out there, and suddenly the devaluation happens. So if I could kind of rewind time, obviously, and say, well, what should have I done, or what should people have done? In the case of this big market panic, it is kind of a time to like liquidate and liquidate what you need,
Right.
for your own, sustenance, for you to be able to sustain.
Yeah, or emergencies too.
Yeah, to be able to sustain these emergencies. But then after the fact, this actually can ramp up to the next big boom cycle. This could be the black swan event to the economy that ramps up to the next major cycle of crypto and Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But it's going to be, how long it will take is hard to say as far as when that ramp of crypto will happen. But I'll predict hopefully within a couple of months, we'll start to see the plateau.
And I think that's crazy. It kind of like
These
coincides. It lands on like the halving.
And the
of
halving,
May.
yeah, exactly.
So,
The halving May. Have you seen? We should look up what is the current expected date. Bitcoin
halving date. I
halving,
think like May 11, May
dates.
14. What
which
is
is
it now?
about the time that I'm personally predicting
May 11.
that we'll start to see a plateau of COVID-19 coronavirus cases around that time, because it is so exponential. It happens, the exposure happens so quickly that we'll cover a large amount of the population pretty quickly.
Right
Maybe
on.
even quicker than that if with attempts at locking down countries. So
Yeah.
it doesn't spread to the entire population, but.
Right.
So expecting it will happen in, what did you read here, May?
It's on May 11th.
May 11th. May 11th, and so far that's at 5:27 GMT time. So it's a bit of a downer. Usually it's a big party event.
Right.
There's been rooftop parties around the world. I know people from Tel Aviv, and they throw a giant rooftop
Yeah,
event.
like
halving.
2016, a Bitcoin block halving party.
Yeah, that might be less of an event this time around, which is kind of a bummer. But
Yeah,
I think going into probably Q3, we should see some major events in the crypto space. As things start to calm down, people get less worried. A lot of the event lockdowns start to open up again.
Right on.
But in the meantime,
Yeah.
I'll be out there, stay safe, and hodl through if you can, hodl through and be our baseline support.
Yeah,
But
so
otherwise,
not financial advice, but
Yeah, not
hodl
financial.
if you can, sell
Hodl
what
if you
you
can,
need,
sell what
and
you
buy
need.
the dip.
buy the
I think
dip.
That's
Yep.
the simplest way to put it.
And use Edge to do it.
Yeah.
Cool. So we normally end with what events we're going to. Absolutely none.
Yeah.
But I will be I will be a virtual speaker over at Consensus this year. They said that they're going virtual, so I'll be a virtual speaker at Consensus, which I think is still happening the same days, I believe the 11th and 12th. And there may be a few other virtual conferences happening at the end of the month, and we'll keep you guys abreast as to whether or not we'll be having any presence at those. But
so we'll be mostly on lockdown, which, another word for that is quarantine, which
quarantine,
just happens to be the word of the day.
Yes, the word of the day, quarantine. So hopefully you can spell quarantine. And once again, we give out $20 of Bitcoin every week, and all you have to do is tune in, listen for the word of the day, look for one of our previous tweets during the day talking about the word of the day, retweet it, respond to it, paste a screenshot of your Edge Bitcoin QR code, and if you're the first person to do that, we get you $20.
And make sure you're following us too.
Make sure you're following us, because every time you see one of those word of the day tweets, you have to have retweeted it first before our live Q&A.
That's right.
So if you didn't first retweet it before the live Q&A, then you're not eligible. So go ahead and do that and earn yourself, stack some sats to make up for whatever you had to sell. Here's $20 extra Bitcoin for
Hey, it could be worth a lot more once we rebound.
Yeah, especially now. It could be worth $40.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, cool. Thanks a lot, everybody. And remember,
if not your keys,
not your coin. Take care.
bye.